Okay, this is the bar sequence that you guys saw in the movie, and I'm going to show you the sequence first, and I'm going to show you how we got the shots for that. There really isn't anything magical about how we did it. The only reason I'm showing you this footage is because I want to tell you some stories about how to get footage like this if you need it. It's really hard to just go into a bar, unless you know the management or the owner or some bartender there, and get permission to go ahead and just kind of start filming in their establishment, with all their customers there and everything without paying, really large sums of money usually, or just getting kicked out outright if they know that you're filming. We rehearsed this scene, I'd say, about 14 or 15 times before we came in here. It was just one of those things where I walked in with David, and we just both very calmly and nicely talked to her and just explained to her what we're doing, and that they were shooting a short film, that this isn't some major Hollywood spectacle or anything. And just as soon as we explained it to her, she was okay with it. There was really nothing more to it. I'm sure that we could have walked into about 15 or 20 other bars, and they may not have been okay with it. Mainly because I would say we got lucky, not just because we got lucky, but also because we were extremely nice, and we asked the bartender the whole time, "What can we do for you to make this workable? What do we have to do to make this okay for you? Do you want us over here? Do you want us over there? Would it be okay if we put this light here? Would it be okay if we put the camera here? Is it okay to put any lights up at all, or is it not okay?" And David, our lead actor, is also a very charming person, and he was able to really help us out when it comes to getting things done. And as long as you ask the establishment, what can we do to make this okay for you? What can we do to make this workable, to not be in your way? How much time would you like to give us? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? And you'll walk in, you'll get your shot, you'll walk out, and you'll have made friends for the next time. I mean, we can walk into this bar anytime we want, talk to the same bartender, and I'm 99% sure that she'll let us film again for another movie if we wanted to. And as long as you're accommodating to these, nice people, then you're going to be okay at coming back again and again to keep filming. So I'd actually gotten some of my friends to call around and see what's the best deal I can get as far as filming at a bar. And the best deal I could get was about $450 for per hour. Well, here we were able to film practically for free. Really, nobody asked us for any money. They just said, okay, just sit over here on this side of the bar. Don't get in anybody's way. And you can film, and everything's fine. Just don't get behind the bar. And then we did as they asked. We got on the right side of the bar. We started filming. I got all those shots at the very beginning. And as soon as I got enough shots that I felt, okay, I can get by with these shots. I mean, I can kind of cut them into the movie, and that's primarily everything that I need. I don't really need any more stuff. So let's see how much more we can kind of push our luck at this point. So I walked up to the bartender and I said, do you mind if we put a light back there? And she said, well, what kind of light? And I said, well, just this little battery-operated light. It's nothing major. She said, well, you can't be behind the bar. I said, that's fine. If you would like, you can put it back there. And she said, okay, that's fine. And then that gave us some nice face light for Jake. I mean, otherwise he was just kind of like at the same even illumination as everybody else in the bar, which was way too low and it didn't look good. So we were finally able to separate him a little bit from the rest of the patrons. And then after we were happy with that, we got some creative stuff. We were like, well, let's see if we can push our luck a little bit more without, of course, causing any problems. And we went over and asked the bartender if I can actually get back there and play the part of the bartender, because we had a very specific action that we wanted to try to play out, which is the action where Jake asks for a beer. The bartender gives him a beer. Then he asks for a shot. Bartender comes back, gives him a shot. He does a shot. The bartender comes over and cleans up, and that's pretty much it. By this point, she realized that we were just nice people, that we weren't there to drive her customers away. In fact, we were actually turning into a little bit of a spectacle, and it was actually driving business over to the bar. So she realized that it was in her best interest to keep us there as long as possible, because before that, there weren't really that many people there. And we kind of started drawing a little bit of an attention from the crowd. People weren't coming up to us and asking us a bunch of questions or anything. They weren't interfering in the filming. They were very nice. And you'll find that most people in cities like Los Angeles who are used to having crews filming around them, they don't really bother the crews. Most of them are actually in the production industry themselves, and they're perfectly comfortable just sitting there and just watching what we're doing without actually interfering in the filming. So I was able to actually get back there and finally do the full action that we had rehearsed at the apartment before actually getting to the bar. So here's the action as we rehearsed it. And I have a beer in my hand. that I already have ready for the action. And he's got a beer that he just got done working on. And by the way, that's non-alcoholic beer. It's just regular non-alcoholic beer. We ordered a few of them for him. And the reason being is that he has to, of course, drive, and we don't want to have people getting drunk on the set. One of the shots was that he has to order and chug an entire beer, and I wasn't about to have him chugging real alcohol on the set. And it's just not something you want to have your actors do, especially when they're driving. It's definitely not smart to do that. So this is non-alcoholic beer. I came over and I gave him the beer. He's chugging the whole thing right now, and I'm on the left side going chug it, chug it, chug it. Okay. And so he gets the whole beer going. And for the movie, of course, this is why, we did it, because, Jake in the movie is supposed to have chugged the whole thing, trying to get drunk so he can put himself into an artistic stupor so he can better write. And, of course, that's 7-Up, because we're not about to put real vodka in those shot glasses. So this is just 7-Up. And I told him to smell it and kind of, not really like the odor or the idea of it, and then just chug it, but with a great sense of disgust, because I told him that Jake, I told David that Jake is not used to drinking alcohol. This is not something that he would normally do. And then I come over and I take all the cups of beer, kind of just leave them there, take the shot glass, and he takes over the little wet napkin, and I say, "What the heck is this?" And kind of put him down a little bit. And of course, as you can see, the beer bottle that's sitting right there, we turned the label away. And then I came back in and I blocked the frame so that we can use that as a segue if we wanted to. Like I said before, try to always give yourself some kind of a segue in and out of a certain scene. You may never need it, but if you need it, at least it'll be there. So here's one last thing I just wanted to show you. This is exactly where we put the light panel on the left side there behind the bar. We just attach it to the bar, and we dimmed it to a very particular intensity. And here it is actually dimming up on Jake's face, so that you can see the effect that it's going to have. If he didn't have it, it would just look horrible. I mean, it's not. He's being lit only by those really, really soft bar lights that are extremely dim, and it's just not enough. Especially in that part of the bar that she put us in, there's like no light there. So if we didn't have that, there was going to be no light on him at all. This is the first lighting, where the light is coming directly from the camera, right to the left side of the camera. Here it is from in front of the bar, where it kind of modeled around him. It feels like it's coming now from the bar rather than from the camera, so it feels more natural, more cinematic. But we ended up going with this lighting and this position of the light. It's right above eye level for him, and it's off to the right side of the camera, and that's me on the left side right there. The quality, the quantity, and the direction of the light is very appropriate for the situation. You want to try when you do these things to see if you can get the shot that you need for the movie, which is something with a light on it separating your actor from the environment, from the background. Something that brings up his face so you can see his acting, so you can see his performance. Lighting is just so important. Even just a small little battery-operated light allowed us to create a nice frame as opposed to just an acceptable frame that we probably have to gain up on or do something to in post. Alright, so this is going to be the exterior of the bar scene that we just saw, and this is about 15 blocks away from that other bar, so just goes to show you that if you shoot an interior somewhere, that doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that you're tied to shooting the exterior in the same place or outside of that place or in any way at all. As long as you have the actor wear the same outfit, and as long as he's also in character, you're going to sell it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be audio. I'm going to let you listen to the difference between lavalier audio and shotgun mic audio for this scene. Then we're going to talk about battery-operated lights and where to put them when you have a scene like that. We use 2 for this scene, but we're also going to show you how to use just 1 and how necessary they are as opposed to just kind of shooting off the cuff with no lighting at all when you're dealing with an outside scene like this. So let's listen to the lavalier audio first. Now the lavalier is mounted underneath his shirt, and it's right next to his mouth within about 6 or 7 inches away, and the shotgun is mounted right above the camera, which is very, very close to the action. Now Rachel is standing right next to the camera, so you're going to hear her very loud and clear in the shotgun because she's standing literally right next to the shotgun mic. But concentrate on Jake's audio. That's the most critical part. And also concentrate on all the ambient sound, the car sounds around Jake and how loud they are on certain microphone as opposed to the other. So let's start with a lav mic. So I'm hoping you heard that at that point you hear the car a lot more than you hear anything else. On the lav mic, it's a pretty clean. You can barely hear the car. It's just kind of like a little bit of a humming in the background. But with the shotgun mic, you can hear that car very, very well. Let's try some more. This is with actual dialogue.
Hello?
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel.
So once again, you can hear more of the car idling next to us at the stop sign than you can of Jake's dialogue with Rachel. Let's listen to one more scene.
Jake?
What are you doing?
Are you drunk?
No.
Yes, you are. Jake?
What are you doing?
Are you drunk?
No.
Yes, you are.
So you're getting a lot more bass and warmth and audio level due to proximity of the lavalier mic as opposed to the shotgun. So let's watch one more.
You want to come
What are
over
you
to my
doing?
house? Nothing. You want to come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, why? What's up?
I have something that you might be able to help me with. You want to come
What are
over
you
to my
doing?
house? Nothing. You want to come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, why? What's up?
I have something that you might be able to help me with.
Towards the end there, I really couldn't even hear him at all on the shotgun mic. So again, the proximity of the lav mic to his mouth really saved the day. We couldn't even barely hear the car. It was still acceptable audio. So let's go ahead and talk about lighting. Here's the set. And there's the camera, and there's Jake, and there's our first light panel right above his head. That was our key light that created the primary shadow on his face, and it filled in his features. And here it is from another angle. There's our DP with the camera. He just pulled it back a little bit to try to get a different estimation on a different angle, and we eventually moved it further back again to get more of that wide angle perspective. And here's when we added one more light. We turned off the other one just to kind of see what we're doing with the other light. We kept the one at the top for using it as a key light and in order to create the primary shadows on his face. And then we used the other one right next to it, kind of right above the camera. I know it looks like it's right next to it, but it's actually a bit further away. It's closer to the camera, and it's being used as a fill light. So let's go ahead and model these two lights and see which one is doing what. Right now, this is the fill light that's filling in his face, and we're using it at a couple of different intensities just to kind of show you how much brighter they can get. But just because they can get that bright doesn't mean you need to use them at that brightness. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And now the DP is going to go ahead and adjust the key light, which is going to create the primary shadows and act as also a hair light. So there's just a fill by itself. And there's the key light. You notice that it makes shadows. You see those shadows right underneath his eye sockets? Those are the shadows that the key light is creating. And it's also creating a little bit of a nose shadow. This is the key light by itself. And it's creating the primary shadows. And the fill light right next to it and closer to the camera is just going to fill in those shadows. And here's just the fill light by itself. And this is the fill and key combo. So you'll notice that there's a shadow being created on the face by the key light, and the fill light is just coming in to just fill those shadows in. And here's our final frame. We actually ended up moving the fill light to the other side just to see what it would look like with a more filled in type look. So this is on the left side of the camera instead of the right side. And we got a couple of different variations. We also turned off the key light and used just a fill light for a couple of the shots just to see what it would look like. And that's just the fill light now. We just increased the brightness on the fill light and turned off the key light just to kind of get a little more of a moody type of approach. But notice the orange light on the left side of his face. We didn't really like that too much. So on one shot, we lowered the fill light. As you can see, it used to be higher and we lowered it. It's still at the intensity it was at before. You see how we're using an arm to hook it up to the phone, the actual phone booth itself. And you'll notice there's a highlight on the left side of his face now, or our left side of his face. And that's coming from a different light panel, and we took that light panel and we put it way on the left side, right there, on that light stand. And essentially what that's doing is it's filling in that orange light that was on his face from before. So let's see the final effect of what we actually accomplished here. You notice that there's a highlight on the left side of his face now that didn't used to be there before. We're going to go ahead and freeze the frame here so you can really concentrate on it. That highlight on the left side of his face is now what's called a rim light, and it's filling in his shoulder and the left side of his face. It's also called a kicker or a three-quarter backlight. And here's when it's not there, that's what it looks like, when it's just a street light. So what we were doing is trying to cover up that orange light being created by the street light. The orange light's still there a little bit, but we're pretty much trying to knock out most of it. So you can see when we flash it on and off that our light is taking over the lighting for that side of the face as a rim light. But the orange light is still kind of there, so it kind of feels like it's still a little bit of a street light. And here's when we turn off the fill light entirely. So the key light on the left side became the rim light, and on the right side we still have the fill light filling in the face. And here's what it looks like without any lighting at all. This is just if you showed up and tried to shoot with no lighting whatsoever, and let's just say you decide to turn up the gain to see what it would look like so you can get a decent exposure. That's how crazy it gets. You get a lot of grain in the shot. I mean, for me, again, this is an unacceptable frame. I've said this many times before, that using this much gain on video is just not acceptable. This is with daylight white balance. So if you were using daylight white balance, all those lights would look really, really orange. So that's the importance of using proper white balance. So let's take it down. And this is a 4400 degrees Kelvin white balance, which is like for fluorescence. So this is fluorescent white balance. So we're taking it down one more notch. We're going to take it down to tungsten white balance now. So this is 3200 degrees Kelvin tungsten white balance. So this is the final frame for that last shot that we did. We didn't end up using this because we didn't like the action on it, but for us that was probably the best lighting that we could have gotten out of the scene. Okay, so this is going to be our first take. What I'm going to show you guys is essentially the progression of the actor's journey in this particular scene, and how Jake went from the first take to the fifth take, and see which one you like the best, and we'll talk about it. Whenever you hear those little sounds off to the left side or somebody calling him hey or whatnot, that's me just trying to get his attention because I wanted to try to make like somebody's trying to harass him on the street or something. And, you know, we ended up, I think, using one of those. I just wanted to look over to the frame left to kind of distract him a little bit.
Oh.
Hello?
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel.
Jake?
What are you doing?
Are you drunk?
No.
Yes, you are.
Do you
What are
wanna...
you doing?
Nothing. You wanna maybe come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, why? What's up?
Okay, so this was the one of the frames from that shot, just so you can concentrate on the lighting that we did over there. And let's move on over to take two. Up here is when we sent on the left side Kiana, our first AC dolly grip, focus puller, and actress over into the shot because we felt that the last shot was just too bare. There was like nobody walking up and down the street. It felt like it was way too late, and we wanted the street to feel a little bit more lived in. And you'll notice that extras, sending in extras into the shot, you'll notice those a lot in movies. They really liven up the shot. I mean, without having some kind of pedestrians back there, it just doesn't feel like it's a real street, even with all the cars and everything. So definitely remember that for your movie.
Hello?
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel,
Jake?
what are you doing?
Are you drunk?
No.
Yes, you are.
No. You want to
What are you
make
doing?
nothing? Do you want to come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. I got something that you might be able to help me out with.
Okay, now let's listen back again to take one, and you'll notice that on take two, Jake really kind of got more into the character and really kind of felt like he was more drunk than in take one. Listen to the change in the tone of voice. I'm going to play first take two, which is the one we just saw, and then again right after that take one, and you'll notice the improvement in take two.
Do you want to come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. You want to maybe come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll have noticed that he was more in character on the second take, and on the first take, kind of while he was actually playing through it, he lost character a little bit and kind of got back into it, forgot that he was drunk, and then got back into it again. So you'll notice that as we progress through the takes, he gets better and better at it. Hey, man. Good luck with that.
Thank you. Big dog.
And that is called an actor's faithful reaction to a sudden occurrence. We did not cast that person and his dog to walk through the set. That was an actual pedestrian walking through our background. And Jake's reaction in this situation was so honest and so faithful to his environment. That is what makes a professional actor a professional. He faithfully reacted to something that was totally unplanned. He saw a man walking a dog, and he reacted to it as though we had actually put that person in there as an extra. And that's just a wonderful thing. You always want to try to make sure to coach your actors in that direction, to react faithfully to occurrences in the environment. I mean, the whole thing is a made-up role. It's a made-up set. It's not real. Nothing in it is real. But as a professional actor, what David Lee's job in playing Jake is to react to this imaginary environment that I created in a very realistic way that fits his role and it fits that environment. And that is exactly how Jake would have reacted to seeing a guy walking a big dog while Jake is drunk. I mean, he totally was in character. But it's just nice to know what to expect from an actor so that you can coach them with that and work with them on it before you actually walk on the set. Tell them, hey, if something happens like this, just go with it. No big deal. We don't have to stop filming. Don't make like it didn't happen, but just react to it in a natural way. And you'll find that they get better and better at it the more they work with you and the more they trust you as a director, because they feel like if they actually do it, you're not going to get mad and say, oh, just stick to the script. Don't go in any other direction other than the one I told you to go in. It's the more they work with you, the more they trust you, the more they'll feel at ease and comfortable in reacting to these situations in a truthful and an honest way.
Rachel.
Hello?
Rachel,
Jake?
what are you doing?
Are you drunk?
No.
Yes, you are.
You want to come
What are
over
you
to my
doing?
house? Nothing. You want to come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.
I would say that this wasn't as good as take two. Some people might disagree. That's just my opinion. But let's just watch take 1, 2, and 3 as we just shot them.
You wanna maybe come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. Do you wanna come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. You wanna come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.
I also want to show you one last thing before we move on to the next take, and that's something that that David improvised here. You can see where he kind of like pulls away to the left and then comes back. We couldn't quite see exactly what it was at first, but then we kind of figured it out. And here's behind the scenes of what it looked like. And he just improvised this all on his own, and it was just absolutely wonderful. That's another thing that you have when you have a professional actor. And here's take 4 coming up.
Hello?
Rachel?
Hello?
Rachel,
Jake?
what are you doing?
Are you drunk? Yes, you are.
No. Hey, you
What
wanna...
are you doing?
Nothing. Do you wanna maybe come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Now, I think that that's absolutely fantastic. That was a great take, and he really had a great hold on his character. Again, a lot of other people would disagree. It's always a personal relationship you have with your footage. When you look at it and go, "Wow, that's something I like," and then two other people will watch the same thing and they'll have two different opinions. As a director, it is your singular approach to this movie or to any movie that you'll ever make that makes it a defining work of your nature and of your style. The more you listen to other people, I think, when it comes to your work, the less of you is going into the work. When it comes to expressing yourself and expressing an idea that you had, whether it be a script or any other idea, you want to try to make your own decisions as much as possible because that's what makes it your work and it defines your style. So let's compare takes 1 through 4 again now.
You wanna maybe come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. Do you wanna come over to my house tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah. You wanna come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah. Do you wanna maybe come over to my house?
Tonight?
Yeah.